The anime starts with the hero Ning Yuan falling into unending darkness in his dream until he is awakened by a girl's voice. Su Jin, a girl, speaks to him through a hole in his cell and informs him that the spiked wall behind him can move and approach them at any time. He sees a way out, but the door is locked. He then tries to break the window bars but fails. He asks the girl who she is and thinks it is a prank, and the girl starts crying to hear this. Yuan then calms her down and asks him to hand over the axe that is lying near her. He tells her his plan is that after breaking the window, he will rescue her after going outside. Su Jin asks Yuan to promise that once he is free, he will return to save her. Yuan assures her that he will save her after going outside. When Jin tries to hand him the axe, it does not fit through the hole. Yuan then asks her to give him an iron bar from her bed. She breaks the bed in her room and gives Yuan the iron bar to shatter the window with. She begs him not to abandon her when he's going outside. Jin recalls when she and her friends were stranded on an island. One of her friends, Jian, suffered an injury and Jin gave him first aid. Her other two friends suggested they should leave Jian and continue their journey, but Jin refused to do so. So they both went, leaving Jin and Jian. Later, when Jin and Jian were alone in a cave, Jian asked her to be his girlfriend, but she refused. When she came back after collecting some food, Jian had gone, leaving a message that everything would be forgiven if they survived. Jin has been imprisoned in that cell since then. Jin cries, believing that Yuan is selfish like Jian and thinks all men are the same. When suddenly Yuan arrives to save her according to his promise. She thanks him and apologizes for cursing him before making her introduction. Jin tells him that she is a second-year medical college student, but Yuan does not say anything about himself. They plunge into deep water after descending the ladder, and Jin takes him into a chamber after rescuing him, where she encounters a mummy and a man. The man named Ziyang asks about her and Yuan, which makes her feel uneasy. The man then strikes Yuan, who, after waking up, declines to recognize Jin. Ziyang then attacks Yuan. Jin believes Yuan's memory loss is the result of a head injury, but Ziyang does not. She cries out for Yuan's life, and Ziyang offers her one final chance by challenging her to sum up in one word the reason why a total stranger would risk his life for her. He is rendered speechless by Jin's comments and questions, and he permits Jin to treat Yuan after remembering something. Jin tries to remind Yuan about their meeting, but he cannot recall anything after the 5th grade. Jin reveals to Ziyang that her father was a doctor, and Ziyang is surprised to see that Jin is not afraid of a dead body. When they take off the clothes of the dead body, they notice that his chest has some numbers engraved into it. They fail to find the clue or meaning hidden in the numbers. On being asked by Jin, Ziyang introduces himself and tells them that he works for Don Yuan of the Eastern Gang. Like Jin and Yuan, Ziyang does not know how he got there. Suddenly, Jin sees a paper scroll in the dead body's ear, and they find a map on it that contains the lighthouse where they were imprisoned. Yuan says the numbers on the mummy's body resemble a puzzle. To get out, they decide to look for more hints. They discover a map in the dead body's ear that shows the location where they are sitting. Yuan claims he has seen this map before, but he can't recall where, and Ziyang scolds him in his anger. They are told by Ziyang that they are his slaves and that he will kill them if they disobey him. He informs them that they are departing for another location. They are walking in a jungle when suddenly Ziyang stops and finds a trap, which they are about to catch. He then cautions them not to trust anyone and to be careful because their rival is unknown to them. He also instructs them to collect food for him, as they are his slaves. After eating rabbit meat, Ziyang tries to rape Jin, but Yuan intervenes to stop him by claiming that they work as a team and are important to one another. Ziyang is touched by his remarks and repents what he did. They suddenly notice a man rushing, and he is caught in the trap. He is killed by a strange-looking assailant who is pursuing him. Jin faints to see this, and the assassin drags the dead man while Jin and Ziyang are watching him. When they return to the cave, Yuan asks Ziyang about the assassins, and he replies that he does not know anything about them. Ziyang asks Yuan and Jin to relax inside while he watches over them from the outside. The next morning, they get some fruits, and Jin gets frightened to see a rat. She then goes to the bathroom and is captured by some cannibals. Yuan and Ziyang run to save her when she screams, but before they reach there, a stunning girl shoots one of the cannibals. She advises them not to stay there because it is a dangerous place for them. She asks them to go with her because she is a lab officer named Tracy Candy. Ziyang claims to have seen her before and asks her if she has ever been to Hong Kong, but she says no. They are about to leave when savages attack them again. Tracy fights with cannibals as they flee. Ziyang, Yuan, and Jin wait for Tracy at a stream, and Ziyang instructs Jin and Yuan to keep the numbers and map to themselves. He tells them that there are a lot of people trapped here except them, and nobody is trustworthy. He assures them that he will protect them if they obey him. They decide to form a team and make an effort to leave that location. By clasping hands, they swear to stay together and never betray one another. Officer Tracy arrives and directs them to her team. She introduces them to her team members, and Xiang quarrels with a group member. But Tracy reminds him that once they join, they must abide by the rules. They chose to join them after accepting the rules. The group's president, Kawa Ishigaki, introduces himself and tells them that violating the law would result in their deaths. Xiang then says Tracy is the executioner of the group and asks why they should trust her as fair and just. He asks Tracy if there is one chance to survive, and if she decides to kill them all, then what should she do? Tracy asks him to leave if he does not accept the rules. Tracy claims to have discovered architecture in the jungle. While Mr. Ishigaki advises investigating it, certain members are not in favor. Tracy favors Ishigaki's idea, and Ishigaki and Xiang cajole the members into voting. Xiang carefully canvasses and sets up a trap for Ishigaki. All the members vote for Xiang except Tracy. He overwhelms Ishigaki with votes and silences him. Xiang asks Tracy to listen to him in private as they are entering the jungle with Ishigaki and Tracy. They both go aside, and after hearing what he has to say, she slaps him and continues. Xiang says to her that she will have to repay this slap. Tracy does not tell others what Xiang has said to her. Tracy asks Ishigaki to identify the style of architecture, and he says it is like the Maya Pyramid. They try to assume, through the architecture, which country they are in. They chose to examine the building after noticing it. Jin and Yuan discuss how they could be here, and Yuan advises her not to worry about those things she cannot figure out. He tells her that they are on the right track because the pyramid is also on the map. They both talk, and Yuan makes her laugh, and Xiang wonders why they are so happy. Tracy discovers burn marks and assumes someone built a fire here not too long ago. They form two squads, one to help them inside to explore and the other to help them outside. Ishikago is the leader of the exploration team, while Tracy is outside with the other team. While they are outside the pyramid, a member of the team urges Xiang to revolt against the team leader, but he refuses. Xiang then threatens him and steals his check. The group is examining the pyramid with Jin, and they find some ancient writing on the walls of the pyramid. Ishikago says they need an archaeologist to know what this writing means. Jin is reflecting on Xiang, who attempted to rape her the day before, and how she poisoned him with Gu's venom. She tells Yuan that she had a Gu in her ribbon. Jin had already treated Xiang with antidote despite Jin's prediction that he would pass away 7 days after the poisoning. Jin warned Yuan that the remedy would damage Xiang's stomach, and he might experience stomach aches. While walking in the pyramid, Jin hopes Xiang will be fine. Outside the pyramid, Xiang suffers stomach aches when suddenly more savages charge at them, and Xiang is in too much pain to flee. Yuan runs toward the gate of the pyramid while carrying the man on his shoulder. After spotting savages, a member of the pyramid presses a button, and the gate begins to close. However, Yuan and Xiang manage to get through the gate. On Yuan's arm, Jin discovers a mark. Yuan only has 10 hours to live since the skin she cuts doesn't bleed. They all look for a different method to leave and locate a hidden location where several people are on the verge of drowning. They save them. Andre, a soldier for the Israel Defense Forces, Ding, Miss Riksha, and Professor Gerard, an archaeologist, are among the survivors of the sea. Gerard has collapsed, but Tracy tells others that he is alright. The professor, after waking up, tells them that the exit is in front of them and they can get to it with the water rising. He can also decipher the language etched on the walls and informs them that the secret gate will manifest itself if they locate the room's highest point. They must swim through the water while climbing the pillars. They all ponder for a long time over how to pick the next pillar after climbing the first one. Yuan then says they can pick the next pillar before the first because all the pillars are in a straight line. Xiang gets furious while discussing the solution, but Ishigaki calms him down. Before the rising floods, some able-bodied individuals go first and use a rope to pull the others. Ishikage let a weak woman climb the pillar before him. They all hardly pull Ishikage in the nick of time. In a set amount of time, they all succeed in scaling the first pillar. They are astounded by the facilities that savages can create. The professor informs them that this structure was erected by the lost civilization of Guyon, and the language written on the walls is found in Maya literature. He informs them that their language only has 20 characters with a lot of combinations, yet those characters have numerous meanings. Guyon's people are intelligent beyond average. Everybody is scared to know the mysterious facts about the Guyon culture. Yuan complains of a headache and says it seems he has heard this information before, and Jin tries to calm him down. Then they notice a door in front of them and think it is an exit, but according to Guraud, the exit gate will be on the highest point. Ishikago warns everyone not to go near the door because it might be a trap. Miss Rika goes to the gate as they ascend the second pillar and taps it. Before Tracy can save her, the door flips open and she is inside. The professor tells them that among those who arrive, the gate of the altar will only be opened when one of the warriors offers himself as a sacrifice. While Ding is losing power, they are all swimming while gripping a rope. He's reminded of his teacher's words of wisdom to persevere, and he gets ready to swim again. Although they discover snakeskin and think it is Naga's, Gerard tells them that it is fake. Yuan struggles mightily to walk but fails, and then Andre picks him up on his back and they walk. Zion warns Andre not to harm Yuan, otherwise he will kill him. They finally come across a gate and an altar. Someone must lie on the altar to open it, according to the instructions written there. When Tracy gives it a try, the door starts to open. According to the professor, someone must give their life to unlock the gate. They consider using rocks in place of people, but this idea has also failed. They all advise Yuan to leave because he is already quite frail and on the verge of passing away, but Jin objects. The majority of the members support their suggestion to vote on it. Whoever leaves Yuan behind will perish, declares Ziyang as he draws his knife. Juan is also interested in being driven there by Andrea. Ziyang beats Romeo and suggests he should stay behind instead of Yuan. They finally succeed in opening the door. They are grateful to God for releasing them and are joyful. Ziyang asks Jin to search for some herbs to cure Yuan. She treats Yuan and tells Ziyang that he is stable now. They carry out a variety of tasks, including gathering food and wood, crafting weapons, and watching over the group. Romeo finds himself alone, and the gate is locked when he gets up from the altar. He screams and weeps, but no one responds. Yuan opens his eyes and tells Jin that his head is still hurting him. Ziyang and Andre go to save Romeo, but they find the door is closed and Romeo is crying outside. They come back because they cannot save him now. A monstrous snake attacks them as Jin treats Yuan, but Tracy shoots it and Ziyang kills it and plunges into a lake. While killing the snake, Ziyang also falls into the lake, where he is bitten by numerous leeches. Ziyang and another boy collapse and are found by the group. Seeing wounds on their bodies, Jin tells them that these are bites of leeches and they will be all right after some time. Then, they are surrounded and attacked by several barbarians. All the members of the group are shocked to know that the barbarians can speak and understand their language. Then, they ask the professor about his teacher and mentor, a one-eyed man. Professor Gerard is attending his teacher and mentor's funeral. Ishigaki and Gerard discuss Gerard's teacher. He says the miracle doctor mentioned by the barbarians is his mentor. Xiang tells Yuan that the barbarians are escorting them to their lair and he sees it on the map. They both plan to flee when they will get a chance. The group is taken to the tents and they ask them to heal their father. When they discover Jin is a doctor, they become incensed. They disagree that women have healing powers. When the elderly man finally agrees, Jin examines him and informs him that he has malaria. The old barbarian gives the command to locate the herbs right now and sends Jin, Xiang, and Tracy to find them. Jin walks out at night to look for the herb. Due to the stormy night, everyone is concerned about Jin and the other two members. According to the professor, Guion worships the Naga, and whenever malaria breaks out, people there refer to it as a curse and sacrifice the affected people to please the god. He goes on to mention his mentor and how he signed a document donating his body as part of the deal. But he never mentions the name of the foundation that provided the funding, since his mentor's body wasn't buried or burned when he passed away, but taken away by the organization. The professor now believes that his mentor is still alive. He describes an incident when his mentor tried to control life and death. He killed his pet, and after some time, he gave the dog an injection and gave it life. The mentor then asked the professor to sacrifice everything in search of knowledge. Jin is attacked by some bizarre animals in the jungle, but Tracy kills all of them. The savages revere heroes and detest cowards. They promptly executed the captives who cried for mercy. Jin returns with herbs and heals the elderly man, who wishes to repay Jin. She demands to be told how to return. Jin asks the man if he learned anything from the one-eyed man. He replies that he was unwilling to teach them the treatment method. They mention a bizarre animal that resembles a monkey, and the professor asks them not to hit their bodies with that creature, otherwise they will die. They guess 10 years ago, Gerard's master faked his death and was brought to this island for research. The strange-looking creature was created by the mentor's experimentation. The man approaches Luo when Luo's guard asks the man to hand over his pen, but Luo orders him in by saying that he will not be killed with a pen. The man informs Lu that his boss has lost the wager. He also gives Lu a dazzling stone, which he hands to his servant. Lo says his stake is the same, and he bets the group will survive. He also claims that the group will never be wiped out until Yuan is in it. Zico, the mentor of the professor, is also present there and demands that the man give him his riches. He also lets Luo know that Yuan is experiencing amnesia, and Lu is surprised to know this. Lu says he cannot wait to see Yuan dead. They both are talking about when another guy comes there. Zhang feels lightheaded after taking one of the savages' pipes. He's lost in his dreams. Yuan asks one of the savages to tell him more about the people who attacked him. A beautiful girl is taking a bath in water, and everybody is mesmerized by her beauty. They are given some food and drink by the barbarians. Ishigaki asks a savage to provide them with a guide for exploring the volcano. One of the savages engages in a crossbow duel with Andre and demands his cap if he wins. Andre gives him the cap. He wins the duel. One of the savages is hurt when a ghost monkey attacks them. Jin steps forward to treat him, but the old savage stops her by saying that the injured will soon be turned into a ghost. To prevent him from becoming a ghost, they decide to bury his body, but he escapes while still hurting another savage. The second savage tells the old savage that his hand was scratched by the rock. Jin then treats his hand. Ishikaji informs the group about his next plan to explore the volcano. He tells them that they have enough food, meat, and fruit, and he suggests borrowing some weapons before leaving. Old Savage explains how everyone else in his gang turned into a ghost except for him as the group is about to depart. He tells them that his son, too, turned into a ghost, and he died right in front of it. Yuan is asked by Ziyang what he will do if forced to kill him. Yuan responds by promising never to kill anyone. The gang is about to go when the old savage forbids them to go to the ritual of the new chief's enthronement. Additionally, the new chief Magyu begins acting like a ghost and starts to kill everyone. After the group splits up, the professor and Ding, who are tired of running, advise the remaining members to reunite before dusk. Then they see Jin being chased by some savages, but because Jin prevented malaria from spreading to their town, the savages do not murder her and guide her to the volcano. Yuan regains his memory while they spend the night on the shore, discussing the beauty of the moon in literature. He recalls someone begging to save him, but he could not do so. Later, they encounter giant crocodiles and Ding rushes across the water to save himself from a crocodile and meets Ziyang. Zhang scolds Ding for leaving Yuan and Gerard in danger. Ghost monkeys attack them, but Ziyang orders Ding to leave while he engages the monkeys in combat. Ding helps Yuan and Gerard escape from the crocodiles. When a crocodile attacks Yuan, he uses a rope to escape, but Ziyang kills it. But after getting scratched by the ghost monkey, Ziyang is going to transform into a ghost. The professor advises visiting the volcano so that Jin can provide them with antidotes. Jin finally meets Tracy, Andre, and other group members, and they enjoy the fruits. While they are stranded in a marsh, Yuan, Professor, and Ding are also traveling to the volcano. The professor, Ding, and Yuan are about to be caught in a swamp, but Giraud tells them how to get out of it. While crossing the swamp, Ding gets scared to see a crab and gets stuck, but Yuan saves him and Ziyang. The other group members are attacked by ghost monkeys and only 3 bullets are left in Tracy's revolver. Because they are out of food, Jin proposes to gather some. They resolve to gather food before dusk and assign various responsibilities. Jin is concerned about Yuan. The professor and Ding sit away, Xian after seeing his red eyes. The professor warns Yuan that Ziyang could at any moment transform into a zombie, despite Yuan's assurances that Ziyang will always be by his side. When Yuan reminds Ziyang of their oath, Ziyang responds that he doesn't want to turn into a zombie. He recalls their first meeting when Jin left him speechless. Ziyang asks Yuan if he has no choice but to kill him. Then what will he do? Yuan replies that he will never do that. Yuan promises him that he will bring an antidote for him, but that he will have to kill him if he turns into a zombie first. Andre asks Jin how she crossed the swamp, and she tells him the savages helped her. Tracy is informed that Andre likes her, and she then recalls a day when he met a man named Eric who looked like Andrew. Eric was chased by Tracy because he was a criminal, but he managed to flee. The professor and Tracy guess that Andre is Eric's brother, but they are not confirmed. Ishikagi warns Tracy to exercise caution and avoid spending time with Andre alone. The fruits Tracy and Andre left behind were found by Yuan and the professor. Yuan is also concerned about Jin's well-being. Yuan advises visiting the volcano to obtain a cure. Tracy, Jin, and the other group members arrive at the Blazing Mountain, and they are dead tired of walking in the scorching heat. Jin advises them to stay for a while to rest, otherwise they might dehydrate. Suddenly, they discover that Mr. Ishikaji is not among them. While they look for him, they can hear Jin's voice. They witness Jin jumping into the marsh as they flee. Jin is saved after they locate Mr. Ishikaji and Yu. Finally, they discovered Mr. Ishikagi unconscious. They locate a lake with hot water and take a shower there. Andre finds a drat in the lake. Ziyang experiences lightheadedness and blurry vision when he is walking with others. They discover that they are on the right track after discovering several hints. Yuan promises Ziyang that he will come back to save him. The professor contracted malaria as a result of his lake dip. Due to his condition, the professor is unable to travel further, so Ziyang stays with him while Yuan gets medicine. A man-made tunnel and an electrical breaker are discovered by Tracy and Andre in a room. Some organizations have research facilities there. A subterranean power plant is discovered by Tracy. She enters and rushes to Andre to shoot him while the door is shut. Yuan intervenes as they are about to kill each other. Yuan reminds them that they should help Professor and Ziyang, who are waiting for the antidote. Andre reveals Tracy is an international criminal and drug baron, not an officer. Jin is sitting near Mr. Ding, who has fainted, and when Yuan and Tracy come, Jin gives Mr. Yu some fruit. Yu says he will eat half the fruit as they are running short of food. Jin and Yuan are glad to see each other after a long time. Yuan requests that Jin treat Professor Giraud and Ziyang. While searching for Ziyang and the Professor, Jin and Ning are unable to locate them. They also discover a knife in the wall. They return after a protracted search. To find Ziyang and the Professor, they all head to the lab. Tracy is thinking about who touched her gun while Mr. Ding asks her to put it down. They are talking when Yuan, Jin, and others come. Ishikage also comes into consciousness and asks where he is. Jin tells him that this place is under the volcano. She then checks his pulse and tells them that he will survive soon. Ishikage notices Yuan is a bit different from before. After discovering the equipment there, they assumed it must be a communication satellite. A few skeletons, an electronic door, and a data center are found, and a password to access them is also discovered. Then they find a data center where they can get information about the lab. Ishigaki attempts to restart the computers and change the passwords. He also tries to change the password but fails. He tells others that it will take a week. He divides the group into 2 teams and assigns each team various responsibilities. In the biomedical lab, Tracy and her team discover immortal monkeys. Jin tells them that these monkeys were created here, and they surmise that the virus's antidote must also be present, so they start searching for it. Ishigaki is giving them directions from the data room as Yuan and his team search the living area. Suddenly, the alarm starts ringing as they get inside. Along with some cards of military guys, they discover spacesuits. Mr. Yu admits that since he lost the championship match, he has had a psychiatric condition. Although his coach greatly assisted him in escaping this, he still gets confused whenever he is put in a difficult scenario. He always faced bullying from others. Ishikage then instructs them to go to the last gallery, where they come across a restaurant that is littered with skeletons and dead bodies. Devastation and suffering are widespread. I guess they were all enjoying themselves when they died suddenly. Another door within the eatery leads to a different dining area that might be for senior citizens. They think there is a shadowy figure behind the sofa. When Jin and her crew discover that the antidote has already been stolen, Jin doesn't give up and cheers the others on by saying that her dad has taught her not to give up. In addition to dying, the man behind the sofa also had a notebook in his pocket. They guess, after seeing the body, that the man died a while ago. Andre follows the man after spotting him behind Mr. Yu. Yuan sees something written on the notebook that they have found on the dead body. Knowing that there were some human experiments at the lab makes Jin and Tracy extremely nervous. While they are moving, there is an explosion, forcing them to hide. Tracy assumes Andre intends to murder them. Mr. Ding attempts to open the door first and let them in, but he is hurt and cannot move. They reach a door, but it is locked as they sprint up the stairs. They manage to get into the restroom and take cover there, but Ding cannot enter, and there's another explosion. Someone else is also ascending the stairs and making their way to the restroom. Suddenly, poisonous smoke filled the bathroom. The door is locked when they attempt to leave. Ishikage informs Yuan and Yu that Andre attacked Tracy and Jin and carried them somewhere as they both passed out. Yuan shows the notebook to Ishikage, which they found on a dead body. They use the digits written on the notebook as a password to unlock the admin computer. In 10 minutes, they must unlock the system using the supervisor's thumbprint. Otherwise, they will be destroyed along with the system. The supervisor's dead body is brought to the restaurant by Yu, and just in time, they manage to open it.